Every woman will go through menopause, bar none. We cannot escape it. Menopausal women are the fastest growing demographic in the workforce, with the average age for a woman to go through menopause at 51 years. In fact, most women in leadership positions are over 50 and will be experiencing perimenopause or menopause. Is there sufficient support for our women at home and at the workplace? By identifying perimenopause symptoms sooner, women can take proactive steps to stay healthier and hopefully prevent some of these menopause-related conditions and advocate for proper management by their doctors and impress the need for greater understanding, empathy, and support from those around them. In part 1 of our 2-part discussion on menopause, we discussed the definition of menopause, its cause, and analyzed the wide range of signs and symptoms of this condition. Today, on part 2 of menopause, Dr. Ishmael and I discuss the physical and psychosocial implications of menopause and perimenopause on a woman's life, her family dynamics, and the workplace. Join me in the final chapter of Shattering the Glass Ceiling on Menopause with Dr. Salian Ishmael. Feeling sluggish or forgetful? Vitamin B12 is essential for energy, red blood cell production, and nerve function. Red blood cell production. B12 helps prevent anemia, keeping you energized. Brain and nerve health. Supports memory, focus, and prevents nerve damage. Boosts mood and energy. Helps produce serotonin, fighting depression and fatigue. Where can you find vitamin B12? Meat and fish, beef, chicken, salmon, and tuna. Eggs and dairy, cheese, yogurt, and milk. Fortified foods. Some cereals and plant-based milks have added B12. A B12 deficiency can cause fatigue, memory loss, and weakness. If you're vegetarian or vegan, consider supplements. Stay sharp, stay strong. Get your vitamin B12.
Before you take your omega-3 supplement, check for the natural product number NPN on the label. This unique code shows that Jameson products have approved rigorous Health Canada testing for safety and effectiveness. Unlike some supplements that carry disclaimers like not approved by the FDA, Jameson Omega-3 is the trusted choice, offering 1800 milligrams of EPA and DHA for heart health. Choose quality. Choose Jameson.
My name is Dr. Stephen Carroll, the CEO at Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist, and we are committed to making good private health care affordable.
For all your medical needs, including dental, radiology, laparoscopy, behavioral and mental health, along with many other services, contact us for more information at 235-5479.
Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
So Sally, we discussed in the last segment what menopause is. We defined what it is. We described exactly why it happens, what's the causative agents involved, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. And we delved also into the whole signs and symptoms of menopause, the whole laundry list, as we described it. And we started to touch on the management of menopause.
Yes.
So I asked you to come back today because I really wanted us to do a deep dive into the management and treatment of menopause.
Yes.
Right. So indulge me if you wish. Sure. As a medical expert and as a woman who's going through menopause herself, open that toolbox of yours and describe to us and walk us through in detail, if you wish, how you would handle a woman who is going through menopause and enters your office.
Sure, no problem. Well, because menopause is such an expansive topic, I don't know if we can do detail, but we will do a overall summary. Yes? So the patient walks in, hopefully she walks in with a diary, as we mentioned in our last segment.
Right.
Yes? So something that she might have been able to have access to is something that I might have been able to give her before. So she comes in with her diary with her 35 symptoms listed on it. I look at the diary and I focus now on where her symptom concentration is greatest. And as we talked about in the last segment, we can divide that into different things, right? So we have the vasomotor symptoms, which is the classical hot flashes, night sweats. You have the physical symptoms, the psychological symptoms. You have the sexual dysfunction symptoms. You have the mood symptoms.
Yes.
And you have those that focus on the genitourinary and the musculoskeletal.
Right.
Yes. So that's basically a broad way. And why is it important to focus on that? Because treatments kind of revolves and focuses on where those symptoms affect the most.
Good.
Right? So if you're looking at genitourinary symptoms, like the vulval dryness, the vajayjay, when it's dry, when it's irritating, and when you get these abnormal discharges that you never used to experience before. You get more infections down there, and you don't know why, because you're not doing anything differently, are you? Right? You might get painful sex, whether it's with deep penetration or whether it's just on, just trying to get in, right? If I'm going to be blunt, I don't know if you're...
No, you can, yes.
That's fine then, okay. And then things like and that kind of evolves into the sexual dysfunction stories, right? So women who have problems trying to get aroused, women
loss
who
of
have
libido.
Loss of libido, and women who have problems actually trying to achieve an orgasm, something as simple as that. So all of those things tend to happen a little bit further along after the hot flashes and the night sweats, but they are real symptoms. They do exist, and they get pushed under the rug quite a lot. So they are commonly underdiagnosed. They're underreported, they're underdiagnosed, they're undertreated. When you give the patient the diary, they have this little privacy thing going on. So it's easy for them to just tick, tick, tick. They don't have to voice it, so they feel a little
very
bit
open and honest.
Yes, they feel
Yeah.
more open about it, and then they kind of hand it to you and they go, "Hey, doc, look at this," and then you could focus it and then go, "You didn't tell me this, you didn't tell me that," right? And then you can have that more open kind of discussion with them about what it is that they're focusing more of their attention on.
Right.
As we talked about the last time too, you wanted to focus on self.
Yes.
So we've done that. We're here. We've done that. Because if I have to look at their picture like that now, I have to now take into consideration, what do we have available here?
Right.
We don't have a lot available here.
We're talking about the HRT.
We're
again.
talking about the HRT. We're talking about the
lack
big
of
old
availability of the HRT in all its forms.
Yes, in all its forms. Absolutely. Gels, creams, injections, pellets, all of those things. I mean, there's a whole, factory of HRT out there.
As you talk about, so that would be one of your tools in your toolbox, so to speak.
That would be one of my big tools, yes.
The HRT, hormone replacement therapy. Not every woman, and you said that the last time, not every woman will require HRT. What are the absolute contraindications to HRT?
Well, that's a very ticklish question, right? I mean, because most people will say breast cancer.
Right.
So if you have breast cancer, if you had breast cancer, then most people will say yes, that that is an absolute contraindication. If you've had clots before, right? If you have current heart disease, if you may have dementia, right? So, but you can't just say absolute. I don't like that word absolute, yes, because there's always exceptions to everything. Right.
You have to weigh risks versus benefits.
And this is why care must be individualized.
Good.
Right? I mean, it's not necessarily, this is not me jumping on somebody who has breast cancer and saying, oh, you need HRT, right? So you have to go through a ladder of formulations and therapies before you could say, well, oh my gosh, you know, you're in a really bad way. You really need to fix this. Yes, you have breast cancer. Yes, more likely you had breast cancer, but this is really affecting the quality of life that you have. This is impacting on your interpersonal relationships. This is affecting your mood and your psychological.
And so the benefits of being on this is going to outweigh the risk of getting cancer.
Exactly, right?
All right. So what age would you say is the best time to start HRT? Is it in the perimenopausal period, in menopause? Obviously not in postmenopause. We want to capture and usher in menopause with HRT. So what age would you recommend?
So, I mean, when you become symptomatic, yes? Because right now we don't, none of the major colleges and societies throughout the world recommend using HRT for prevention of heart disease in particular, or and osteoporosis is not something that happens in your 40s, right? So if you're going to start HRT, it will be for the earliest in your perimenopausal age range. Right? When you become symptomatic, when the hot flashes and the night sweats come on. But what you have to pay attention to is, and then this again goes back to what we were saying before with pay attention to self. You have to know that it's your hot flashes in the night sweats and all the other little things like the memory loss and the poor concentration. You have to realize that this may be menopause. A lot of women in that 45, 47 age group may not think of it as menopausal, right? So when you recognize these things and you identify them from your diary to be something that, hey, wait a minute, this might be me, this might be menopause, because it's going to happen to everybody, right? Then sure, you turn around and you say, okay, I think I want to try this HRT thing, right? But you shouldn't get HRT access. Even if we had a whole gamut of HRT preparations available to us, you shouldn't be getting that without seeing your doctor first.
I get it.
Yes.
So, all right, so HRT may not be applicable or suitable for every single woman, but every single woman should have that conversation with their practitioner, the healthcare provider.
Yes.
Great. Now, we talked about the different formulations. I'm not going to go into why there's not enough available in Trinidad and Tobago.
It's like one. There's like one
type
oral preparation
that is
on formulary. Is it on formulary? That is available.
Yeah.
In pharmacy.
Yeah.
Right. So it's available to public and private.
So, all right. So I mean, it's good that we're talking, and this is the whole purpose. I asked you to come back. Is to educate women, let women be aware that the signs and symptoms of perimenopause are so subtle. As you say, the forgetfulness, the word aphasia, as you mentioned, the thing. You can't remember. Yes. And for me, in my experience, when I hit, I would say, 45, most women at that age group, I would say 45 to 55, they're in a managerial position, corporate. So they are now dealing with
high stress
and corporate and dealing with a different level of stress.
Yes.
So I attributed my forgetfulness, my word aphasia, my absent-mindedness to I've got so much on my plate.
That's
so I didn't pay attention.
Yes.
That this was perimenopausal coming.
Yes.
And I should have, in retrospect, I wish I had started HRT back then.
Yes.
But that's why we're talking about it, because we want women to be aware that these are real things. It's not. It's not necessarily so busy that you can't remember where you put your keys and you left it. You left it in the fridge.
Yep. Or you put it on in the pot while you were doing your gardening and forgot it there. Yeah.
So besides HRT, let's move away from that. How else would you advise women to be able to manage and navigate menopause in a healthy way?
Right. So that's a very good question, because I never like to actually focus too much and only on medication. Right. So lifestyle measures are always important, but they're not always easy, and those are the ones that actually sustain you through it. Because HRT is not something that you necessarily could take forever, but the lifestyle measures are something that you can employ long term. So stress management,
Right.
Yes, meditation, right, and exercise, right? That's probably the most non-controversial point that actually everybody can agree on that helps with all of the things related to menopause. Every single aspect, all of the symptoms, all of the, whether you want to define it as acute, medium, or long-term, whether you want to define it as vasomotor symptoms or the musculoskeletal, it helps with pretty much everything.
Exercise.
Now, the kind of exercise you do will depend on your symptoms, your primary symptoms. So whether you do high impact or whether you do low intensity. Right?
So what I found was exercise, as I had mentioned before, I've exercised all my life. Avid exerciser. We are women of the 80s.
Yes.
We're in menopause.
Yes.
Women of the 80s were sort of drilled to look,
a certain way.
A certain way. Yes. That was our social currency, so to speak. And the way we exercise then certainly is not the way we're going to be exercising now, because things have to change. Our primary goal should not be to stay skinny, but really to be strong.
That's correct.
And tell me, and tell everybody out there, in terms of exercise, what should they be focusing on? Weights?
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, again, it depends on your own individual perspective. Yes, what you want and what you expect. A person who has the hot flashes and the night sweats and is really having difficulty with it, but we can't give them the HRT that is available because it's the only one available and it's not suited for them, then I look at them and go, you know what, you need to do something like yoga. You need to do your low intensity exercise. The high intensity is not going to help with the hot flashes and the night sweats. Correct. But the low intensity, the yoga will. Right? So it depends on what you're looking at, what you want. If it is that you turn around and telling me that you have a family history of osteoporosis and you have all these muscle aches and pains and you have joint stiffness, that lovely, wonderful frozen shoulder thing that we talked about.
Yep.
Right. So that is different. Yeah. Now you want to build muscle mass. Now you want to build strength and power. Right? So now you have to do the heavy, intense, you want to use the kettlebell.
Yes.
Right. And
so resistance training.
Yes, you want
and
to
weight
do the
training.
resistance training.
Because,
that's correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
it does build muscle mass. We had the conversation.
Yeah.
So I've changed up my exercise completely now.
Yes.
Weights, resistance bands.
Yes. As opposed to the aerobic and stuff like that.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although I did a 5K and I'm aching. Never happened before. So much aches. It really is different.
Yes.
But yeah, I could feel it in my body. Yes, your bone density does change. Your muscle mass changes. And it's important your muscle mass, people should keep that in mind. Women should keep that in mind, because as we lose muscle mass, we lose metabolism.
That's correct.
Our metabolism goes down and we're able, easier to put on weight.
It is. So, I mean, that estrogen thing, right? So estrogen always, it has a vicious cycle interaction with other hormones, cortisol being one, and of course cortisol is one of those hormones that increases with stress. I mean, so yeah, you have to accept probably a little bit of weight gain, and then of course, you know, things like loss of testosterone is also going to add to the weight gain in forms like abdominal bloating. Diet is important too, so I don't want us to forget diet. I don't want us to forget supplementation as well.
Yes, let's talk. Right? What would you suggest? What are good foods for us to be eating now?
Oh, well, again, it depends on where you are in your diary.
Okay.
Right? So again, things like spicy foods and acid drinks and alcohol and caffeine, right? Those are not going to be good for your hot flash story and your night sweat story and your difficulty sleeping story, right? Those are going to irritate your bladder. So if you have urinary symptoms associated with the menopause,
Sally, your patient would ask you. I'm not focusing. I'm brain fog. I'm tired all the time.
Yes.
And I need the coffee to stay alert in my job.
Then don't do it at night.
All right.
Limit the number of cups you have.
Okay.
Right. Have it first thing in the morning.
Okay. So
right?
moderation.
Moderation. Everything in moderation. Okay. Yes. And try decaf once in a while. Yes. So don't look at me like that. Right, try the decaf ones. If you have 3 and 4 cups, try to wean down.
Yeah.
Right. Tea is same thing. Tea is just as bad, right?
Yes, it has theophylline
so tea can be
in
just as much of a criminal as the coffee can be.
Okay.
And don't forget, let's talk about the supplementation. So the diet.
Let's hear what's good. What's good
again,
for us?
If you have hot flashes and night sweats, you want your vitamin E. right?
Vitamin
E. And you want your soy products in there.
What kind of foods are we
Right.
looking at
So,
for vitamin
well,
E?
cereals, so your wheat, your barley, your brown rice, right? You want your, of course, your soybeans, your soy milk. If you're not inclined that way, then you want to go with, things like the kidney beans.
Egg yolk.
Well, the egg yolk is good for the protein, right? So that's good for your muscle now. That's good for your muscle building stuff. So you want your protein, your zinc, your magnesium. You want your vitamin B if you're thinking about muscle strength and muscle power, right? And you're looking, you want your testosterone building foods. So those same foods that contain the protein are testosterone building foods, right? So those help with decreased libido as well.
Okay.
Right? So you want your vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important in there. It's very important for psychological aspects as well. So people who have low mood, yes, and
depression.
Well, maybe not full-blown depression, but depressive-like episodes. Because
vitamin D is helpful.
Vitamin D is helpful. Vitamin D.
In what form?
Oral. Well, of course, the best
Sunlight.
way, right? Sunlight is the best. So you get outside as much as you can, but where that's not possible, like, we're having a rainy season, so you take it orally. You take it in supplement form, right? Vitamin K2, the magnesium and the calcium go well with the vitamin D. So these are ordinary, and of course your B6, right? You want your vitamin Bs.
Yes, because your vitamin Bs do go down. Yes. Your levels do go down in menopause.
And let me tell you something, even in the tropics, we think that we don't have the vitamin D problem.
Yeah.
We do, right? Trinidadians do not like to get out there unless it's carnival, unless you put that carnival tag on it. Trinidadians do not want to get out there in the sun.
Yeah.
Right? We always out there with the broad hat, avoiding the hottest times, right? And saying, no, we'll go out at 3, we'll come out, it's 6 o'clock, the sun is rising, we got to get back in.
So we need more sunlight.
So we need more sunlight, right? We need more sunlight. And like we talked about, the vitamin E is good for the hot flashes as well, right?
Okay.
So, and any foods containing these, right, would be good.
So we're talking about for management of menopause in your toolbox, nutrition.
Yes.
Exercise.
Stress management. Yes. Sleep. Very good.
Maybe hormone replacement therapy where it's suitable for you based on your healthcare provider.
And of course, we have the availability of it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Anything else in that toolbox?
Well, you need to talk to people. Right?
Social support.
Really right?
important.
I mean, there are other gadgets and stuff out there that are available online that are kind of cool as well. So you get these cooling bracelets, right, that can help with vasomotor symptoms. You get acupuncture and acupressure bands.
I like that point you made. You're talking about the symptoms and what you're going through and sharing it with other women.
Yes, it's always very helpful to kind of face, psychologists have this therapy that they call cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
And it basically makes you face your fears, those unpleasant thoughts that you have, and help you deal with it, break it down in simple forms by doing things like journaling, right? And talking to people in groups. So those things form the basis of you being able to cope, right?
And it's so important.
Yes.
That we must be aware that every woman must go through menopause, as you say.
Every woman, yes.
And that accounts for 1/3 of her lifespan. If we consider that our lifespan, our life expectancy is 80, average age of menopause is 50.
Yes.
So 1/3 of your life is in menopause.
Yes.
And we all wish to have an active, healthy, vibrant lifestyle and a vibrant life before we go.
Yes.
With all that in mind, if you had to leave one piece of advice, one golden nugget to those viewers out there, women, even the men who are supposed to be supporting their women, what would that be when it comes to menopause and women's health?
Right. So as we talked about the last time, pay attention to self. Once you've done that, you will realize that because this is something that you can't avoid, right? This is why you need to pay attention to self, yes? So you paid attention to self, you know that it's coming, know that there are people out there and there are things out there, although we may not have a great amount of, a whole list, laundry list of stuff, pharmaceuticals that can help. There are things that can be done, and that there are people that are paying attention, and there are things that we could do to help you cope and to get through and to deal with this, because it doesn't have to be a bad thing. We look at menopause, and I mean, yes, we talk about it and we say all these negative things about it, but it could be a good thing.
Yes.
And it could be something that is very easy for you to cope with. It's coming, deal with it. Pay attention to self, deal with it. Know that there are people out there. When you educate yourself, you can deal with some of the things by handling it through diet, exercise, right? Stress management. But when you need help, there are people there that will be able to help you.
I like that.
Yes.
Pay attention to self, self-awareness.
Yes.
And self-love.
Yes.
Thank you,
You're
Sally.
most welcome.
Do you need treatment for obesity or any related abdominal procedures? The community hospital now offers minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery done by an American-trained, board-certified surgeon with over 20 years' experience. Give us a call at 235-5479 for more information.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
Where good private health care is affordable.
Before you take your omega-3 supplement, check for the natural product number NPN on the label. This unique code shows that Jameson products have approved rigorous Health Canada testing for safety and effectiveness. Unlike some supplements that carry disclaimers like not approved by the FDA, Jameson omega-3 is the trusted choice, offering 1800 milligrams of EPA and DHA for heart health. Choose quality. Choose Jameson.
Have you ever opened your fridge and drew a complete blank? What to cook? What to cook? Well, lucky for you, Chef Emmanuel from Food Hall is here to share with us one of his amazing recipes that's nutritious and completely delicious and quick and easy to prepare. Chef Emmanuel.
So once your sugar is not controlled, it causes changes in the blood vessels in the back of your eyes. It basically makes your blood vessels more leaky. And it happens on a stage process where the smaller molecules start to leak, then the intermediate, and then the larger ones. Larger means we have come to a bleed.
WESN.